Hey guys, Baby here, welcome back to the channel. Now, in the pantheon of players I would love to sound and pick like, Eric Johnson is of course way up there. His tone and writing, chordal playing is to die for, but he's also got that very distinctive picking style with those cool cascading sounds. I'm ashamed to say that back as a very immature Bumblebee in 1996 or so, I would get the G3 Live DVD and skip through it in order to get to the jams and the wild whammy bar antics of the other two. But obviously I've learned the errors of my ways, and as a more mature player over the last 10 years or so, I've fallen in love with Eric's playing, and those 90s albums of his are really something. However, my own journey as a player of the last 8 to 10 years has very much taken a different technical path. I've been trying to move my right hand as little as possible and doing a lot of hybrid picking and legato playing. So getting those kind of EJ or Bonamassa or any of the kind of Yngwie kind of type things, that's been way out of my comfort zone. And what I've found that I've been doing is kind of inadvertently really, whilst just jamming and improvising live, is coming up with alternative ways with a hybrid approach as to getting some of those cascading pentatonics. And that's what I'm going to look at today in today's lesson, is to show you an approach of getting that kind of pseudo cascading pentatonic sound and with hybrid picking, as opposed to whatever way that Eric does it. The other thing we'll be looking at is controlling the rhythm and subdivisions in a very precise way. You'll have seen me do this in the channel before and on other platforms like Instagram, where I'll take an idea and really break it down rhythmically and be in control of the subdivision. So rather than just kind of playing the technique as fast as you can, and I think that's kind of in the vein that how Eric or Joe might do it. What I want to kind of do is kind of really nail the subdivision. So be in real control of the grouping of notes and how we're going to apply that to a subdivision. And this can be a bit of a cryptic workout for the left hand as well, especially within the legato elements to it. So let's break it all down and we'll dive right into it. Okay, so I put together a pseudo EJ kind of Manhattan-ish backing track in D minor. And so, yeah, we're going to be doing sextuplets, so groups of 6, and that's the subdivision of the rhythm we're playing, but kind of coming down the pentatonic scale in groups of 5. We're going to start up on the flat 3 of box 1 on the high E string. So we get those first 5 notes of the pentatonic box 1. Then we're going to go up to the B string and come down the next 5 notes. Then up to the G string and come down 5 notes. D string down 5 notes, and then to finish it off we're just going to pull off down to the fret 10 of the low E string and then finish on an octave up on fret 12 of the D string. So we get this 1 2 3 4 5, 1 2 3 4 5, 1 2 3 4 5, 1 2 3 4 5, 1 2. Now we'll look at the grouping and the subdivision and rhythm in just a moment, but first of all I'll show you the left hand and right hand technique as to what's going on exactly. So like I say, Eric with his incredible picking technique would do something, I guess, like this. I've not really researched this, but I think my guess is it would be, which I really have no control of. It's that sort of pick, pull, and then double, like economy almost bounce thing. I don't know, I could be completely wrong there, but anyway, it's not within my right hand control. So what I'm doing is, instead of doing that kind of double bounce or that economy, I'm doing a down middle finger hybrid to kind of get around that, because whenever I'm doing changing strings, I'm always middle finger hybrid in these days. It just makes life much easier, it's less wear on the wrist. That's my excuse anyway for my poor picking. So I'm going like this, I'm going hybrid, pull off, hybrid, pull off, hybrid, like that. Now, the other thing that you might notice is my left hand in the fingering that I'm using. This might also be something that's a bit of a quirk to me, but I feel like it's really good to develop and build control over your pinky finger. I'm guessing many of you may feel more comfortable doing this. I can't even do it that way, where you're using the finger 1, 2, and 3. However, I think I can put a good case forward that using your little finger opens you up to being able to do this throughout the boxes more comfortably and fluently, and not just stuck in box one. So the fingering that I'm using here, I think is quite logical and quite efficient, in that I'm using my 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm spreading out fingers 1, 2, 3, 4 across frets 10, 11, 12, and 13, so one finger per fret. But then whenever I need to kind of come into fret 12, I'm utilizing that extra length that the third finger has over the little finger in order to tuck the little finger underneath it. And that allows you to then play quite fast and fluent and efficient when pulling off, I guess, what's underneath or by a pitch above the third finger. So like this when I come down to the D and G strings. Here I kind of tuck in underneath the third finger, my little finger, and then again here on the A to D string. Now what this allows is, or what this stops me from doing, is having to stretch across 4 frets with 3 fingers, and I just find that more comfortable. And then as you see, as we take this down the boxes, it's kind of essential. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is get really comfortable with this sequence of notes, this grouping of 5, because later on we're going to feel it rhythmically with the subdivision very differently. So you want to get really comfortable. Now the temptation is going to want to be to go to accent every time you do the string change and you've played the grouping of 5. The temptation is going to be wanting to group them in 5s and play them as quintuplets like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's cool, you could do that, and that's totally valid exercise and thing to work on. What I want to kind of do here is kind of group them in 5, but play triplet semiquavers or sextuplets. So let's look at that and break it down, how it's going to fall. So this is going to require a bit of work, a bit of thinking, some untangling, and a lot of practice if you've not done this kind of thing before. So the first thing is to recognize that we're starting on the offbeat. So this exercise, this lick that I'm taking through the positions, is starting on the and after the beat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So the first thing we're going to do is map out where all of the downbeats, all the numbers fall on which note of the sequence that we're playing. So we're going to find out, so we're starting on the and, so that's quite straightforward. So 1, 2, so the 2 falls on that pull off there. So 1, 2, okay? And because we're starting on that and after the beat 1, we're only playing notes 4, 5, and 6 of the triplet semiquavers before falling into beat 2. So we've got 1, da, ga, da, then beat 2. It's falling down there. So now we want to work out where does beat 3 fall. So that means we want to play the 6 notes. Okay, so we're kind of detaching from our quintuplet or 5-note grouping at the moment to focus on the subdivision of this. So the second beat, if I start on that first note on the second beat, would be like this. So I go. So that would be, then those are the first 2 notes of the triplet semiquavers on beat 2, but then I'm now going to be going up a string to do the next 5-note grouping. So we get, then this note here would be where beat 3 falls. And then we basically do this, apply the same kind of thinking across the other 2 remaining beats. So we get 3, and then finally for beat 4, where we actually do 6 notes, and grouping to 6 here. So 4, 1. So I'm going to take that through all the way, very slowly, counting out loud. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. So what I'll do now is I'll play it at half tempo with the backing track. 2, 3, 4, 1. It's quite hard to say it and play it like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. In full speed. It's a bit scrappy. Do it again. I've been playing it fast enough. Okay. So that's interesting. As I went back to full speed, I'd kind of lost it a little bit. Now, what I find really helps here in order to nail this and to really glue into that sort of sextuplet subdivision time fill is to really focus on the downbeat. So mentally just image like, where am I within the lick? And I find that really helps. So 1. So really focusing on that note there on the D string, and what I'm going to be doing with the right hand as well, so the down pick. And then when I get to beat 4, that's going to be a hybrid on the downbeat of beat 4, so a hybrid here. So I really want to be concentrating on the hybrid of the downbeat of beat 4, and just anchoring mentally onto those technique aspects on each of the downbeats really helps maintain the subdivision and time fill whilst grouping in these odd ways. I have got a couple of extra cameras set up here, so you should be able to see what both the left and right hand are doing really clearly. But yeah, the on-screen tab might help break it down easier for you. So, and if you want the backing track and any of the PDFs or tabs for any of this lesson, then I'll link those in the description below. So check that out. Okay, I'll play it a few more times at full speed now, just so you can hear it again. So I think this kind of thing is really cool to do, where you take odd groupings and you put them against a different rhythmic subdivision. And yeah, if also it's at odds with the number of notes per string you're playing, that can really wreak havoc with everything that's going on. So it can take a lot of untangling, like I say, but I think the work and the payoff really is worth it. Then it adds another sort of string to your bow when you're kind of doing these sorts of techniques and trying to get a different sort of sound. Like I say, the kind of play it as fast as you can and the kind of textural approach is really cool too. Absolutely wonderful. But this is kind of working on other aspects of the musicality and technique as opposed to just firing off a trick, say. And that leads us to the next thing, where we're kind of taking this through the various different pentatonic boxes. So I'm not going to show you everything here. These will be broken down. I could probably do this in the PDF. I'm not going to show you each of these, but I'm just going to talk about them more generally and show you maybe a couple and some of the interesting things that happens with the little finger and as we shift positions. So what I do in the intro is kind of take it down a box and down a box. And then finally, I think on the repeat, I take it down to this box here. So obviously I'm thinking D minor pentatonic, so box 1. I guess this would be box 5. 4, and then 3. I didn't really work on this idea in box 2. It's a little bit clunky and awkward, and I couldn't find a way that would fall in with any of my sets of fingers really nicely. But you could do it. I just didn't particularly spend that much time on it. So all I'm doing is taking the same lick and just moving it down a box. So for box 5 here, it would become like this. I'm changing the last note just to fit, and then I'd slide it up to fit whatever if it doesn't not quite right. It just so happens on this one I come down to fret 10 of the A string and then slide it up to fret 12. Like that. So Now, the really cool thing is that all of the things we built and worked on within the first box are going to apply everywhere else down the neck. But it's the same philosophy as how you would work this through, where you're anchoring what the right hand is doing mentally to each of the downbeats, and then you focus on that as you work it through. And you could follow along, I think, in the PDF or the tab that I'll do for this as to the exact right hand motions here. But yeah, you shouldn't really need to. If the lesson has kind of gone in, this should, after some time, be quite comfortable, and you should sort of work it through quite naturally. Now, you may have noticed how I'm fingering this in the left hand. I'm actually utilizing my pinky really in an essential manner, because I'm doing it like this. I really could not do it with a stretch of 3 fingers. What would it even be? Yeah, that is extremely awkward and clunky and painful. Now, maybe you could finger this a different way in a different box. I guess there's an argument that could be made for that, but the point is I'm trying to take this idea through the various positions and boxes, and really utilizing this combination of the sort of the leverage and length that the third finger has over the pinky in order to hook the pinky under it is extremely helpful. So if I take it down to box 4, it would be like this. This was a particularly tricky one for me to get my fingers around. It took quite a bit of time. Again, it's because we're kind of utilizing those third and fourth fingers, and which are a nightmare to kind of develop and build independence and control with. But again, I find really worth the time doing it and working on it. It pays off and sort of bleeds over into other areas when you do it. It took me less time to do because I've worked on this in other areas and other licks and other parts of my technique. The final one that I did, I think, is in box 3. This was sort of a bit of a stretch that's unavoidable here. So and this was the only one that still isn't really that comfortable. Yeah, that's still really nasty, even at half speed there. Kind of fake it a little bit at full speed. Okay, so I think that just about wraps it up. Hope you've enjoyed that. Hope you've got something from it. I really wanted to focus on trying to approach the Cascading Pentatonics thing, perhaps in a slightly different way, and the way that's kind of inadvertently worked for me to get a pseudo kind of EJ sound. I don't get the grit and the dig in, of course, because I'm using the hybrid approach, but it does, less wear and tear on the wrist, and it's kind of a cool sound in its own right, I think. So yeah, if you've liked the video, leave it a like, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell and all that stuff. I'm going to try and do more lessons on this kind of thing. And if you've got any ideas for future lessons or things you'd like me to cover, technique, harmony, whatever, theory, leave it in the comments. If you'd like to support me, you could check out my app, Solo, for fretboard visualization. That's available on the Apple iOS store and the Google Play Store. Also got a cool new fretboard visualization course with Tom Quayle we developed, called Ultimate Fretboard Visualization. Links for those are in the description below. I'll also link the backing track and PDF file down below, so check that out if you want it. And thank you so much for watching. I'll go and do now some improvising of the track one more time, just spaff over it one final time. And yeah, until next time, bye-bye.